Hey guys, since it seems like you found the first video helpful, we're going to dive into another 000 run, except this time on Tanglewood. If you haven't seen my first video about all this, go check that out. That might help give some context as to what we are about to dive into. Otherwise, stick around. Let's see which ghost we get. Alrighty, so once again, what we're going to grab first is a smudge, salt, and cruci. Don't forget your lighter, and we'll head into the house. Welcome to Tanglewood, guys, everyone's favorite map. Some people in the comments, I'm sure, are going to say, I know this house better than my own home. We keep the cruci out just because there is a bit of a longer walk versus Ridgeview to set up. I'm going to set up my salt here as a 1, 2, 3. Doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be even. Just space them out to give yourself the maximum slowing. I like to hide over on this side to break line of sight. And it sounds like the ghost might be right there. Just seeing a cup flying over there, so might break line of sight by hiding here instead. We'll wait for the hunt to occur. Interesting. I might even pull this back just in case we block the hunt. Smudge out. We are ready. I'm gonna pop on up. Let it find us. Slow us down in the salt. Steps are present. Not a wraith. Blinks are normal. Line of sight speed up. Checks out. No shape shifting. I'm gonna smudge it, start my timer. We're gonna keep watching it and then dip. Ghost is gone now. Do a little yokai test. Oh. Okay, so we tested a little bit too late there for the yokai, but we can always run it back. With the timer running now on cooldown, we can assume we have about 1 minute until the ghost can hunt again. Normal ghosts will stay cooled down for 1 minute and 30 seconds, or 90 seconds in total. That's of course excluding the demon and spirit that we talked about last video. I'm gonna grab my parabolic again, do another smudge, and we'll also grab a video camera to check for Gorbies. Let's rush back in there before the demon window begins. 60 seconds starts now. If it is a demon, it could hunt any second. Turn our light back on so we can see what we're doing. Actually, let's turn that off for a second just to check for Gorbies. I am not seeing a single Gorby. This is assuming that the room hasn't changed just yet. I'm going to turn on my parabolic, check for activity. We are getting parabolic noises, so it seems like the room is still there. Now, if you watched my last video, I like the parabolic because you can check for things like Banshee Scream. You can drop this and leave it on to test for Raiju. And we will also do a yokai test once we get this ghosty to get some distance on us and break line of sight. So already, let's cross off the things we know. Not a wraith, not phantom, blinks are normal. Dio Maroithe is gone. It's hunting again. I would almost say, based off of how immediately it found us, probably not going to be a Raiju. There's no effect with our electronic. It is speeding up. We're going to try to lose it, in fact. Lose it, smudge it, and the ghost started hunting before. Oops. Okay, so again, I kind of looped it a little bit too long, but as you could tell, the timer was not at 3 minutes, therefore spirit's gone. It hunted after 60 to 90 window. Demon is done. Polty is off the table. It's not throwing hard enough. Those throws would be very linear and pretty much everything would be cleared. There's still a spoon here, so that's almost good enough proof to prove otherwise. Definitely not a Revy. That Revy would have been blazing when it's Os. Onto, it's not possible because it did have line of sight speed up. We are getting an air ball on us every time you see that white mist float towards you and hiss. So that eliminates Oni. We already knew that, but that's just as good confirmation. I'm going to turn back our light. And no shapeshifting, so Obake is off the table as well. Raiju we already eliminated when we were using parabolic. Little red room event there. Fun fact, red room events are more likely with the twins. It is soft evidence, so don't always rely on that as a definite. It is not a tell. Now, so far, we've noticed that this ghost has been hunting from the same room twice now. Whether it changes or not will help determine Banshee or Goryo, since those don't change rooms. Got a slight feeling it might have dipped here, though. Coming up on 2 minutes now since the smudge. Eventing right there, which means there's a chance it could try to spawn right there. Luckily for us, our crucie's protecting us. Let's get the power back on so we can see again. Maybe it moved into our room. We can do kind of a split view here. Taking a look back at our ghosts, we know it's not a yokai. Shade would probably not be so aggressive in an event right in our same room. So Shade's off the table. Oh, Ghosty is really harassing me. Yep, interesting. And we have a block. So that's before 3 minutes. Again, confirming our spirit is not possible. Never did a Jin sprint, though we haven't lost the power. I would be kind of interested in seeing whether it does one. And so far, no scream for the Banshee. But right now, it could be a Banshee. It has not moved rooms. We just need a supporting scream. That's another hunt. Okay. Interesting. Let me restart my timer since that's moot now. That burns up both our crucies. I'm going to dip on out, actually, to refresh it. This ghost could be tempting snipes and be in the same room still. So I'm going to use a motion sensor to support evidence for a possible Banshee while we're out here. And maybe grab... No, we're good there. All right, so let's head back in. Crucie out, protect ourselves. Hurry on into the room. Drop that. Locked it just in time. Also, we lost breaker, so that's helpful. We have about 25 seconds, which is the normal cooldown when the ghost hasn't been smudged. Let's get our breaker back on so we can see things again. That probably ate up our entire cooldown, but we have one more block to go. I'm going to place this here. Weird, that's like glitching out. Yeah, that is too. I'm going to place it here. Alright, same room. Ghost found us. We didn't get the light on. We'll have to loop in the dark here. Broke line of sight. Test for yokai again. Just one last time. Definitely found us. Let's get the breaker back on since it tripped it once again. Breaker back on. Mimic not possible so far, just because we haven't seen those Gorbies. Let's grab 2 more smudges, 1 lantern to test for Onryo. Those are going to be useful for the ghost that does the most with the candlelight. Now for an Onryo, it will do a 1, 2, 3 blowout on the 3rd extinguish. Usually it forces a hunt within 5 seconds or so. Now, let's see. I think it's still in here. We can test for a mare as well. Ghost does seem to be popping up into the dark areas. Loves to turn off our breaker and stuff. Let's see where we get breath to determine whether the ghost changed rooms into kitchen or is it still in dining. Okay, so when we walked into dining, we got breath, so it's probably still over there. We can get sniped now. We got to be really careful. Waiting for a potential scream. Also listening for a blowout. Let's do a mare test. Again, yeah. Still in that room. A few hunts in, and this ghost has not changed rooms. I'm going to resmudge, start the timer yet again. Crouch, break line of sight. Ghosty's gone. Our evidence is gaining stronger for Banshee and Goryo. Mare's on the table. Yuri, not so much. That would have to do with a lot of interactions with doors nearby. We haven't had too much to show for that. In fact, I might even just tick that off. Myling could be a possibility. We are very close. It could be a stubborn ghost that's just not changing rooms. Wouldn't be the first time that that's happened. And the ghost doesn't really seem to care about the candlelight, so Onryo doesn't look good either. You relight that. Here comes an incoming air ball. Another hiss. Now, one cool thing to note is that shades will produce typically more air balls than any other ghosty. But in our case, we've been having a lot of events, and the ghost seems to always spawn in this room too. Right now, I'm losing faith in the Banshee. If anything, it's going to be a Goryo. Typically, Banshees will try to snipe you more. And part of our Cruci here might have definitely been blocking part of that room. As for twins, that's going to be 10% faster or slower. It really seems like it's normal speed. This time we had the ghost hunting after 130, which tracks for every other hunt. Definitely solidifying our case for no mimic. Now, I could smudge it again. I'm going to smudge it one more time here. Start the timer above. Let's do more extensive mare research here and keep flicking the lights on in the vicinity. There's one blowout. Another red room event. Okay, logging that. So we've had one blowout. The standard cooldown for every light that you ignite is 20 seconds. If you get 2 blowouts of the same candle in under 20 seconds, then you probably have an Onryo, or you definitely have an Onryo. So under 20 seconds, 2 blowouts on the same candle, that's a guaranteed Onryo. What would be nice is if this potential mare did a light flick on us. You'll see that the mare will flick off the light the minute you turn it on, as long as it's within 4 meters of when you turned it on. Okay, we just lost our breaker again. Keep in mind, we have no more smudges anymore, so I have to be a little more methodical when it comes to where this ghost is spawning in. Let's cross off twins. I do think that's off the table. So it's now between Goryo, Mare, and Myling. If this ghost spawns in that room one more time, I think the strongest case we have is the Goryo so far. And indeed, it spawned in that same room. I do hear it in the basement. I think I'm going to let go of Myling, given that little piece of evidence there. Yeah, I still hear it walking around down there, and that should be far enough to test for the Myling. See, let's hide again. Mare, Goryo. That's what we're down to. Oof. Okay. Got unlucky there with the stand-up. I think we're looking pretty good for a Goryo, guys. This ghost has not changed rooms once yet. And we've already had several hunts. My pro tip for a Goryo, just because on no evidence, sometimes ghosts can get a little lazy and not change rooms, is you want to at least test 7+ times minimum, in my opinion. Sometimes 10 just to be safe. Our case is looking really good for the Goryo. There. Unless we get that mare flick off, for real. Yep, still breath here. What I'm gonna do is probably let this ghost hunt a couple more times. If we don't get the scream, most likely not a Banshee. Other soft evidence is that this motion sensor really hasn't been showing much activity. Typically, it'll be activated when it's roaming towards you, which is what Banshees like to do a lot. Gonna relight this. See, we don't want to be sloppy. Nothing to support our mare. No light breaking, in fact. Okay, so I think our dream for the mare is over by this point. Keep repeating this process. And I'll do one more hunt to confirm our Goryo. There goes our power. But it doesn't look promising for our Banshee friend. Final hunt before we lock in this Goryo, y'all. It's been a solid 20-ish minute investigation, so enough time spent on this one. But I'm feeling really good about the Goryo. That is our 3rd Red Room event. And yet another spawn in that room. Hunt is over. Let's head back to the truck, lock in Goryo. This ghost has never left the room. That's my Strongest piece of evidence here for the Goryo. There's really no other way you can tell a Goryo. A quick recap, it wasn't the spirit because it never hunted after 3 minutes. Demon, never from 60 to 90. Pulte, throws weren't hard enough nor often enough. Mare, because we never got light breaks, nor did the ghost really spawn in other locations or change rooms. Wraith stepped in our salt. Phantom and Oni are off because of our normal blinking. Phantoms typically disappear for longer while Onis almost appear solid. Shade is going to be a ghost that also changes rooms and won't be so aggressive in the same room as you. Jinn never gave us our Jinn sprint with the power on. Banshee, we never got a scream. However, it did correlate with not changing rooms. No Banshee scream, and also the motion sensors weren't going off. Revenant would have been very slow when it didn't detect us. It was normal at all times. Yuri, no doors really to tell. Definitely no door slams whatsoever. Yokai, it detected us when our electronics were on very easily. Hantu, it did have line of sight speed up. The Hantu does not. Myling, it wasn't quiet enough. On Rio, it wasn't blowing enough candles out frequently. The twins wasn't variable in speed from hunt to hunt. Obake, because it never shapeshifted. Raiju, because the electronics never sped it up. Mimic, we never saw Gorbs. And Moroi, because like the Dio and the Thay, it never started super fast. Here we go, guys. Let's see it. Did we get it? Even if we get it wrong, we got all 3 side objectives right, so that's awesome. And it is the Goryo. Hell yeah, guys. That's how you do no evidence 000 run on Tanglewood. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.